ain't nobody fighting for me but me. I ain't scared of nobody. Shit, Gervonta Davis ducked Loma for fucking 3 to 4 years. Devin Haney.
Proved that with Loma, bro.
Devin Haney, same thing.
So, what do you think about Lamont Roach and him?
Oh man, that's a good fight.
Gervonta Davis is again under fire for the same reason, fighting an underwhelming opponent. He has received flack for his choice of opponents, as some critics blast the American fighter for cherry-picking and stacking up her resume.
Being the face of boxing, weren't able to make the grand arrivals yesterday. I know sometimes, like Canelo, I'm sure he doesn't want to go to the arrivals, doesn't want to talk to us and all our questions.
I mean, he called out a list of fighters on his radar after his win over Frank Martin some months ago, and we didn't hear any name that seemed like Lamont Roach. All we heard were the names of Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Isaac Cruz, Shakur Stevenson, and Vasily Lomachenko. How Lamont Roach, a fighter not even in the lightweight division, found his name into the list and even fixed himself as Gervonta Davis's next opponent remains unknown.
Combat sports, the sports spirit, because the NBA is they in the finals and things like that. Just everything I feel as though I'm excited to be a part of.
Davis, 29, is again in the headlines because of rumors of the next fight, as he intends to take on the super featherweight champion, Lamont Roach. However, this is Roach's first endeavor at 135 to fight for the belt, and this is happening because the World Boxing Association granted a special sanction to Roach to have a shot at Tank. Davis, at 30-0, has been on Devin Haney and other competitors' target for his matchup decisions. The Dream even reacted with a laughing emoji when he responded to Davis's latest announcement. Interestingly, Roach is not the only opponent Davis's team had zeroed on. Edwin De Los Santos was also in the talks.
Everything that's going on, just to be here today, fighting in the MGM thing on, you know what I mean?
In a conversation with Mill City Boxing, Humberto Betancourt admitted that they were contacted by Davis's team, and after such a lucrative offer, they even started preparing for the fight. But eventually, Roach claimed that opportunity for himself. When asked about the matchup, the coach declared, "Hey, I ain't knocking on him. It is a good fight. 130 going up to 135. Why would you fight somebody who is a natural 135 pounder? When De Los Santos and Roach are put together, the latter would come out as an easier matchup."
We got more to do. We got more to do, guys. I don't know. Right, Dallas.
You got Dallas?
As Betancourt pointed out, it was tougher to beat a natural 135-pound boxer than someone who will put up weight for the fight. However, it doesn't take away the fact that Roach is the reigning champion at 130, is on a 6-fight win streak, and he has only suffered one defeat in his 27-fight-long career. Renowned for his explosive force and crowd-pulling skills, Gervonta Davis has become one of the most brilliant boxing stars.
Pound for pound, I think I'm a harder puncher than Tank.
That's very interesting. I know the fans are going to love to hear that.
The Baltimore native, 29 years old, has an amazing record of 30 wins. Davis has a different approach. Generally, he lets his opponent win early rounds before delivering a knockout punch with one devastating blow. Currently holding the World Boxing Association Lightweight World Championship, Davis is one of the most marketable athletes in the sport, hence many rivals are ready to share the ring with him. Two-division champion Teofimo Lopez, who just indicated he was ready for a confrontation later this year, is among those looking for a fight.
Absolutely. Near the end of 2025, that's what we're aiming for.
There you go. There you go. You heard it from the man himself.
In a recent interview with Fight Hype, Lopez questioned Davis's faith in facing elite opponents. He underlined the long-standing belief that Davis has been under close control by his management, particularly citing his earlier resistance to face Vasily Lomachenko. The main hole that they have, they don't believe in themselves. How many times did they say that Tank Davis was not ready for Loma, that they had to prep him? How many times did Mayweather have to speak for Gervonta Tank Davis? I'm just speaking facts.
So when it comes to it, when it's there, it's a different story. At the end of the day, ain't nobody fighting for me but me. I ain't scared of nobody.
Lopez also spoke of an earlier sparring session he conducted with Davis 11 years ago. Whereas Davis was already a professional fighter at 18, Lopez was just 15 at the time. Other than what he described as Davis's aggressive strategies in the ring, Lopez acknowledged that not much can be drawn from the experience. Notwithstanding these observations, Lopez does not minimize Davis's skills. Davis is no easy opponent, he said in a past interview with Fight Sports, but he still believes he is the only one equipped to overcome him.
3 to 4 years. Devin Haney.
Prove that with Loma, bro.
Devin Haney, same thing. He didn't want to fight Loma. He says to call out and everything. He only does it on social media, but he never throws anything out there.
Tank ain't a pushover. I guess the only one that can really beat Tank is me. I guess I gotta do it. Nobody else can do the job. Although Lopez has not stated a specific fight date, he has indicated at another potential weight increase. Davis is supposed to make a comeback to the ring in December in Washington, maybe facing Lamont Roach, the super featherweight champion. It was shocking when Gervonta Davis announced his new 6-7 fight PBC deal, indicating his intention to fight the biggest names. Davis said Vasily Lomachenko was next after the Ukrainians' win over George Kambosos Jr. to win the IBF lightweight title. Tank also earmarked Shakur as a future opponent. Davis's biggest win so far is a 7th-round stoppage of Ryan Garcia last year, and since then, he has been running from the smoke.
I'm a real fighter. That's what it is, man. The truth. And the truth hurts a lot of people, but they got to learn how to take that in.
Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis is, despite being one of the most intriguing fights in the sport, continuing to elude fans. Both men are currently competing in one of the most talented divisions in the sport and are joined at the top table by 2 other champions in Vasily Lomachenko and Denis Berinchyk. Following a knockout win over Frank Martin, Tank Davis entered into talks with Lomachenko, but the Ukrainian later pulled out with a lack of motivation to fight again in 2024. It left many in the sport to call it a duck, but others pointed out that the same happened in the reverse years ago.
Say, man, look, man, your beef is not with Floyd Mayweather. You sitting here beefing with Floyd. It's a fighter out here that's been calling your name.
Asked by DAZN Boxing if he feels Davis ducked Lomachenko when both were competing at super featherweight in 2017, Shakur was clear in his answer. Yes, I do. Stevenson has previously accused Tank of swerving a fight with him too. Speaking to Say Cheese TV, Stevenson criticized Gervonta Davis for the Lamont Roach fight and accused the World Boxing Association champion of taking the least risk possible when picking opponents. That's why he's fighting Lamont Roach, because he washes him. He's picking and choosing. That's what he does. Tank takes the least risk. Of course, Tank will deny all of the above and point to the fact that he actively tried to secure the Lomachenko unification this year, albeit when the general consensus is the Ukrainian is past his fighting prime at 36 years old. Despite his layoff now, he has confirmed it is not retirement, so, in theory, all matchups between the 3 champions can still be made. The lightweight and super lightweight divisions are littered with big names, including Vasily Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Teofimo Lopez, with fans hoping the matchmaking can match the talent in 2025.
There's only one fight that is really
the one.
Bad. Like, if we like gonna be for real about it, like,
keep it on.
What's the fight? My opinion, because we talking about like skill and like boxing, like.
But before his fight against Frank Martin, Shakur Stevenson also questioned his decision to fight Martin. Shakur was on the verge of fighting Martin, only for his opponent to pull out. Stevenson faced Edwin de los Santos in an underwhelming performance, although he still won. Shakur felt that if Davis had been serious about facing the best, he should have boxed de los Santos instead.
All around boxing, right?
Yeah.
Because we ain't talking about somebody that just got a good jab or what.
Yeah.
We're talking about like all around.
He can do everything.
That's why he's fighting him. He's picking and choosing. That's what he do. Tank take the least risk. If Tank were this risky guy that he claims to be, he would have fought Edwin de los Santos. Why not fight the guy that actually fought me instead of the guy that pulled out from fighting me, Frank Martin? That doesn't even make sense. If you're really like that, you see this guy? De los Santos is a really big 135 pounder. He's got boxing skills and power. You get credit for beating him. Why not fight him? Stevenson said Shakur faced Artem Harutyunyan on July 6th in the first defense of his belt. It was his final fight under Top Rank, leaving him a free agent. And while many had thought a win for Shakur could set up a unification with Davis, as the fight has been brewing for so long, the fight is yet to be made.
Yeah, boxing.
Yeah.
Me and Tank the
biggest
fight.
That's the one.
It's the biggest fight in the world.
Shakur recognized that fighters want the most money, making it a calculated decision. This is a game where guys take the least risk for the most amount of money, and I respect it. They got it from the best of them, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I get it. Truthfully, you can't say nothing bad about me if you're not going to get in that fire, Shakur stated. Lamont Roach Jr. has been given special permission to move up from junior lightweight to fight Gervonta Tank Davis for the World Boxing Association lightweight title on December 14th. Roach Jr., 29, is the World Boxing Association champion at 130 pounds. The sanctioning body has approved of a request made by his promoters to allow him to enter what would represent the biggest fight of his career without being stripped of his title. No XQ's Boxing Promotions sent the formal request on September 13th, which was received by the committee to be considered and consulted with the team of Albert Batargaziev, who is the mandatory 130 pounds challenger, the World Boxing Association revealed. After the respective analysis and based on the internal rules of the organization, it was decided to grant the request to Roach under certain conditions.
I'm going to sign a contract too, so it's going to happen though. Like, it ain't no denying the fact that it's going to happen. But
if Roach beats Davis in the fight, he will be given 5 days to send his decision to the World Boxing Association on which of the two titles he will keep and defend. On the other hand, if he were to lose the bout, he will be required to fight the official 130-pound challenger within 120 days of the Davis fight. Rule C, 16 states that the World Boxing Association may modify the periods for mandatory defenses for good cause, either in response to a request for special permission or on its own initiative. For its part, Rule C.46a, E and G read that the body may modify or suspend the strict application of these rules when the World Boxing Association believes them to be justified in its sole discretion to accommodate special circumstances. Those reasons include participating in an optional title defense, participating in a bout of recognized importance and significance to the boxing world, or extending or otherwise modifying a mandatory defense period. It was in June in Washington, D.C. on a ProBox TV promotion that Roach made the first defense of his title by stopping Feargal McCrory. He had previously won it in victory over Hector Garcia. Less than 2 weeks earlier, also in June, the 29-year-old Davis stopped Frank Martin in Las Vegas. And now, World Boxing Association lightweight champion Gervonta Davis may soon appear in the ring for the second time in 2024. The word on the street is World Boxing Association super featherweight champion Lamont Roach Jr. was granted special permission by the World Boxing Association to make this fight happen instead of his mandatory fight against Albert Batargaziev. The World Boxing Association previously summoned Roach to face interim titleist Batargaziev earlier this year. However, a one-time exception was made for Roach to face Davis for the World Boxing Association lightweight title instead. There are speculations about when and where this fight may go down, with a working date of December 14th. However, Ring Magazine's Jake Donovan claims to have learned that the PBC on Prime pay-per-view could also transpire on December 21st. As for the location, Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. seems to be targeted. However, the NHL's Washington Capitals have a game on December 14th in the arena, making the latter date more plausible. Las Vegas also seems to be in consideration for this bout, and if the fight happens in Vegas, the event could see a co-feature by David Benavidez. The duo previously did something similar on June 15th at MGM Grand Garden Arena.
And didn't see me, make sure y'all come out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna stay after the fight and take pictures for a couple people, as long as I can.
Regardless, the outcome of this fight will dictate whether Roach will have to face his mandatory down the line. In case of an upset win for Roach, he will have a 5-day deadline to decide whether he will stay in the lightweight division or drop back to super featherweight. Conversely, a loss will set him on a 120-day collision course with Batargaziev to defend his super featherweight title. This clearly is not the biggest fight Davis could have landed, especially after talks with Vasyl Lomachenko fell apart. However, he does have challengers waiting at the ready to step in the ring with him. Rising lightweight contender Keyshawn Davis has expressed his confidence in defeating the World Boxing Association lightweight champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Keyshawn believes his height, weight, and technical mastery would give him an edge over the shorter Davis, who is known for his knockout power. Me and Tank fight. I feel like that's cautious. We all know what Tank got. He's got that one shot to knock you out. So, that's the only thing I'm looking out for, said Keyshawn in media reports.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just excited to be back. You know what I mean? I've been off for 14 months. So
Keyshawn roped in the Muhammad Ali versus. Sonny Liston fight, suggesting his speed and defense could overwhelm Tank. "I just feel like I've got more weapons than he's got," he added. That being said, it appears Gervonta Davis will have to settle for Lamont Roach Jr. for now. However, given the lack of opponents, he might have to agree to face Shakur Stevenson after this fight or consider moving weight. However, it seems he has Ease News co-founder Eli Sekbach come to his rescue. When asked about the particular situation, Sekbach explained the decision was not Davis's fault. He took the lightweight champion's side and pointed out how promoters dictated the events and matchup choices, not the fighters.
And I was like, thank you, bro. But that's because, see, Hector was supposed to fight me because I was the mandatory. But he uses voluntary defense to fight Tank, which isn't a defense because he moved up in weight.
He said, because it's not his fault, but you are criticizing him for it. So why are you criticizing him if it's not his fault? Any fighter doesn't determine who they fight. The promoter picks fighters for them. Fighters don't have that power. Do you think they do? It doesn't work like that. Fighters don't control nothing, Sekbach added. While many of these boxing professionals may have the wrongest thing to say about Gervonta Davis, what they can't gainsay is his superstar status and mind-blowing aura that makes him more than just a world champion. Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, names that need no introduction. Aura does that for them. PR companies and managers attempt to create this type of aura, but ultimately fail. As a boxing fan, you yearn for these types of fighters. They turn the mundane into a spectacle and leave the sport as legends. There is currently one fighter who has this special sauce in abundance, and luckily for us, his best fights are yet to come. Gervonta Tank Davis is a breath of fresh air. The 5'6" southpaw from Baltimore with a record of 30-0 with 28 fights ending inside the distance is one of the biggest names in boxing. To the untrained eye, his boxing style could be seen as reckless, but he's far from it.
By Romero. Talked about the jab that Romero's using, really effective. That was caught in the gloves.
What he does in the ring is intentional and precise. Not many fighters can boast a highlight reel like Tank. His knockouts are mesmerizing. Davis's obvious attributes are his naturally heavy hands, which make him capable of knocking his opponents out cold with either hand. His pinpoint accuracy and level changes make this God-given talent even more devastating. He tends to dip at his knees or waist, then spring up with his power shots. While watching Davis, you'll see him lunge or push in with big shots. This may look like he's leaving himself in a compromised position, but if you watch close enough, you'll see that he always finishes the shot in a safe position. He does this by framing, using his forearm to keep his opponent where he wants them, or using his shoulder to nudge them off balance. In the early rounds of Davis's fights, you'll see him take his time. He's not even trying to win these early rounds. He's downloading data.
Davis is not using. Well, there he did. I was from Romero.
Looking at his opponent's shape, seeing what their power is like and adjusting to their speed. Sometimes, it may look as though his opponents are giving Davis a run for his money. They're not. Davis just hasn't chosen his time yet. In these early rounds, when the action hasn't kicked off, you might expect to hear some boos from the crowd or maybe some restlessness. Not in a Tank fight. The crowd knows a knockout is coming. That's the Tank aura. Undoubtedly, one of the most eye-catching offensive fighters out there, his defense tends to get overlooked. This could be because all of his defensive techniques are implemented in a way that capitalizes on countering, which is the calling card of an intelligent knockout artist. You will often see his opponents in a game of catch-up because he's constantly changing his shape. Most fighters have a shape, which rarely changes, whereas Tank will change his shape throughout his fights. Sometimes adopting a wide stance with his front shoulder forward in the Philly shell, sometimes standing square in front of his opponents, all depending on how he wants to set his shots up.
Left a little open for a counterpunch. He might want to jab his way. Well, and there's an elbow for yeah.
Good body shot. Second warning.
Good body. Here is just counter left hand as the joy of Gervonta Davis.
Watching Gervonta, it is clear that he has learned from his old mentor, Floyd Mayweather. You'll see Tank baiting his opponents by putting his weight on his front foot and placing his gloves up by his temples. This encourages his opponent to overreach and make mistakes, allowing Tank to capitalize, a tactic we would see Mayweather use often. Davis's underrated skills along with his KO power make him the full package. He's currently one of the highest performing pay-per-view stars in boxing, meaning he can call the shots. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.